Hello students, today we are going to start the next part of the chapter locomotion and movement, that is the skeletal system. So we will start the human skeletal system. This diagram already I have drawn. It is not proper. You can see your NCERT and you will understand better. So first of all, I will just here and let you understand the names of bones. So every individual, we human, all of us, we know that we are going to have 206 bones. Our skeletal system is actually going to be protective in nature. Protective in nature means it's going to protect our visceral organs, like this is our chest cavity, within which we have the lung, then heart, kidneys, they're all protected, right? So it is protective in nature. And second thing you need to know that it is also going to be the framework. So it is going to form the framework of our body. It gives the shape to the individual or that species. Okay, so our skeletal system is going to be divided into two parts. So what are the two parts? First part will be our exoskeleton. So skeletal system is divided into two parts here. One is the exoskeleton and another is the endoskeleton. Okay, living or dead, exoskeleton and endoskeleton will be there in that individual. First thing, if it is exoskeleton, we are going to have both the exoskeleton as well as endoskeleton. The lower grade of organisms like the invertebrates, like if you see one species cockroaches, arthropods, they're going to have only the exoskeleton. That means their body is covered by a thick layer of chitin, keratin, this type of things will be there. That will be the exoskeleton that forms the shell or carapace in case of the turtles. Okay, so in case of us also we have exoskeleton. So our exoskeleton will be our nail, hair, okay. And in case of the other organisms, like in case of dogs, in case of goat, in case of the horned animal, the horn is also a type of exoskeleton. In case of the fishes, scale is also a type of exoskeleton, right? And if it is endoskeleton, remember endoskeleton is this part is the endoskeleton. Okay, in the endoskeleton we are going to have 206 bones. But in case of infants, not in infants, in the embryonic state we are going to have 300 bones. Okay, 300 bones are present in the embryonic state. Okay, so we are going to have 206 bones. Let's just start the parts of all the whole 206 bones. How can we divide? So as already you have seen that I have separated, we have seen the two colors. One is red color, that is the axial skeleton, and the next one is the appendicular skeleton, which are the two limbs. Okay, so let us see what are they. First of all, this endoskeleton is going to be discussed here in this chapter. So first of all, in this endoskeleton, the whole skeletal system, we are discussing only endoskeleton here. So endoskeleton is divided into two parts. One is the axial skeleton and another is the appendicular skeleton. So appendicular word actually come from the appendages. How many appendages we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 appendages we have. This 4 appendages will be attached to this central skeletal system by some girdles. Okay, we are going to have the shoulder and the hip. Shoulder is going to have a bone that is called as pectoral girdle, and this hip is going to have the another bone that is the pelvic girdle. So these two girdles and the limbs, that will be the appendicular skeleton, right? What is present in the axial skeleton? Let's just see. First of all, what we have, the skull. Okay, so this is the skull. In the skull, how many bones we have? 29. Next one, this is the vertebral column. Vertebral column have 26 bone. This is a single bone which is present in the ventral side. Vertebral column is present on the dorsal side. Ventrally, this side from this region, what we have, the sternum. So this is the sternum. We have one single sternum. Then after that the ribs, how many ribs we have? 12 pairs, so 24. Okay, so as total how many numbers of bones we have in the axial skeleton? Okay, so see 29, 130, 26, 24, 50. So as total how many bones we have in the skull? We have 29 bones. In the vertebral column we have 26 bones. We have only one sternum and there are 24 ribs. As total we have 80 bones. You just count yourself by yourself. So these are the 80 bones. Next one we will see this black part, that will be our appendicular skeleton. So in the appendicular skeleton how many bones we have? See, first of all, what I have told you, there are girdles. How many girdles we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually the girdles can be divided into two types. What are they? One, these are the girdles, right? Girdles and appendages we will see. Okay, so first of all, these girdles we have two. One is the pectoral girdle, that are the shoulder bone. In the pectoral girdle we have four bones. These are the back side, we have V-shaped bone, they are called as scapula. On the front we have the collar bone, we can say, that will be the clavicle. So in the pectoral we have four bones and in the pelvic we have actually two bones, right? And in the appendages, how many appendages we have? Four. So we have the forelimbs and the hind limbs, right? In the forelimb and hind limbs, how many bones we have? See, we have 30 bones in each hand. So we are going to have 60 bones on the forelimb and 60 bone that is on both the two limbs, that is 60. So as total how many bones do we have? So first of all, axial skeleton, which is going to have 80 bones in it. Appendicular skeleton, see, 60, 60, 120, 124, 126. So as total 126 bone we have, okay, in the appendicular skeleton. So both these two, 126 plus 80, how many bones we have? We are going to have 206 bones. So these are the two different categories we can divide our skeletal system. There are the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. I hope you understand this axial and appendicular skeleton. Now part by part we will see each of the divide each of the parts. Okay, so one by one we will see the skeletal system. Will not remove this part, will be there here itself, and just will see the skull. How many bones we have in the skull, everything we will discuss one by one. So let's just move to that part. So see, first of all I have rubbed this part. After that we'll see one by one. In the axial skeleton how many bones we had? We had the 29 bones. Now we will see the skull, where we will divide the 29 bones, how it can be categorized, right? So first of all, the skull is going to have first cranial bones. Okay, that means this part above the neck is the skull. Okay, in the skull there is the brain box which is covering the brain, that will be the bones which is covering the brain, that are named as cranial bones. Second, we have the facial bones. Facial bones means on the face how many bones we have, that will be the facial bones. Next one, the ear. So the ear is also going to have the bones. How many bones we have? 3 pairs. Okay, so in the ear we have the bones. The smallest bone is also present in the ear, that is the stapes. Okay, so ear ossicles which is going to have 6 bones, and we have another bone which is present on the base of the skull, which is not going to attach or joins with any of the bones, that is the single bone present in our body which is attached to the tongue, that is called as hyoid bone. So how many bones we have? See, cranial bones we have 8 cranial bones, right? How many facial bones? We have 14 bones. How many ear ossicles we have? 3 on this side, malleus, incus and stapes. On this side 3. So as total 3, 3, 6 bones, okay, and there is only one hyoid bone we have. So as total, how many bones do you have? 14, 15, 20, 21, then 8, 29 bones, okay. So in the skull we have 29 bones, you can see here, okay. Now first of all we'll see the cranium. So first of all we'll see the cranium, that means the brain box. So this brain box which is covering the brain, suppose this is the brain, okay. So in this brain, this is covered by how many bones? 8 bones, right? So what are the bones here? See, first of all, this is the forehead. So in this forehead region we have one bone. What is the name of this bone? This is called as frontal. Okay, this is the frontal bone. Now just back this side, this region, the roof. So this roof is going to be the next bone. What we can call it? This will be called as parietal. This will be parietal. Now how many parietals do you have? We have both the two sides, one parietal here, one parietal here. So in this roof we are going to have 2 parietals. How many forehead we have? Only one. We have only one frontal bones also, right? Next one, just behind the parietal, in this side, on this, right, above the ear, this part, and on this side, this part, okay. So what is this? This is another bone. What is the name of this bone? This is called as temporal bone. So we have 2 sides, here and here. How many bones? Temporal bones. 2 temporal bones we have. On the back, what we have? The last bone. What is this? This is called as occipital bone. Okay, how many bones? We have only one back, so only one occipital bone. Now on this side, actually you cannot see, this is present actually behind. Okay, it's present. See, this is the occipital. Now here, okay, if you remove the nose, then you can see the next bone, that is called as ethmoid. Okay, and here this is the next bone we have, that is called as phenoid. So how many ethmoid bone we have? 1. How many sphenoid bone we have? Only 1. You remember one thing, that we have the pituitary gland. Okay, where does the pituitary gland present? See, this pituitary gland is present somewhere in this region, right? So this is the pituitary gland. So to hold this pituitary gland, this phenoid bone also have developed a depression. So what is the depression where the sphenoid bone develops to hold this pituitary gland? This is called as the sella turcica. Remember, sella turcica is actually the pouch where the pituitary gland can be held. Okay, so how many bones are there in the cranium? First thing, that is frontal bone, only one bone we have. 2 parietals bone we have, as total 3. 2 temporal bones we have, there are 5. 1 occipital bone we have, that is on the back, 1. 1 ethmoid and 1 sphenoid. So how many bones do you have in the cranium? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as total we have 8 bones in the cranium. Remember this. Now next thing, this is very much important to know about the skull, is also the occipital bone. In the occipital bone we have the largest hole. Remember, the largest hole of our body which is developed in the occipital bone. So what is that? This occipital bone is actually look like this. Okay, it's look like this. Okay, so it's present on the back, so it is going to have a hole in it, and this hole actually, see, this is the occipital bone, right? So in this bone actually we have a hole so that the brain can be extended to form the spinal cord. Okay, so remember one thing, that in this occipital bone we have one hole, and what is the hole? Name that. This is called as foramen magnum. Okay, foramen means opening and magnum means it is largest. Okay, so largest opening present in the occipital bone is called as foramen magnum. Okay, so this foramen magnum is actually the hole from which the brain can be extended. So this is the hole here. So what is that? Foramen Magnum, from where the spinal cord can be extending from the brain. Next thing you also need to know, this is suppose the occipital bone. This occipital bone is going to have two condyle. Okay, if you see on the back, we can see there are two depressions present. So what are they? These are called as the occipital condyle. So in the occipital bone itself, we have two grooves here that are called as occipital condyle, and as this occipital condyle is present, this is going to be attached, not exactly attached, obviously we are going to have cartilage in it. So the next, it is going to be attached with whom? With the vertebral column. What is the name of the first vertebrae? This will be the first vertebrae called as atlas. So the occipital bone articulates with the atlas. It will join with the atlas. A bone directly do not attach with another bone. Obviously it will be supported by the cartilages. Okay, most of the time it is hyaline cartilage. So what happens? The occipital condyle is going to be attached indirectly by the cartilage by another bone, that is atlas. So because of what? We can have this type of movement. Okay, we have two occipital condyle with which the atlas bone is been fixed. Okay, so that's why this type of movement, like 180-degree movement, can be possible. Okay, where does the dicondylic skull is present? Remember, skull here is dicondylic. Okay, the reason is this: we have how many occipital condyle? Two occipital condyles, right? Remember this. Now what is it? The next thing you need to know, that in the vertebrates, how many of the organisms have two occipital condyle? They are, first one is mammal, next one is the amphibians, frogs, amphibians, and the mammals we have dicondylic skull, and the reptiles, then aves and the fishes, okay, pisces, they are going to have monocondylic skull. So if you see in case of the birds, okay, in case of the birds, they can move their head to a extent, means to a distant, means they have a very high, good rotation actually. They can rotate their neck also towards back. Why this can be possible? Suppose this is the vertebral column, above this the skull is there, and this can be rotated in any direction. So that's why in case of the monocondylic skull, they are allowing more movement as compared to the dicondylic skull. We have the dicondylic skull. The reason that it give more and more support, protection, heavy load can be taken by this two occipital condyle, but yes, it gives restricted movement only. Okay, we cannot move beyond this. This can be possible because of this two occipital condyle. Obviously, because of two occipital condyle, this cannot be rotated too much, isn't that? We have two occipital condyle, that is in the occipital bone, which gets articulated with the first vertebrae. The name of the first vertebrae is atlas. So what is this? This is dicondylic skull. How many organisms, vertebrates have dicondylic skull? These are the amphibians and the mammals. The monocondylic skull is present in the reptiles, aves and the pisces. So this is about the cranium I have told. Now after that, in the next video, we'll complete the axial skeleton. Then we will move to the next part, that will be our appendicular skeleton in the next video. So up to this, I hope you understand. Thank you.